I ran into Tommy the other evening, and it reminded me of something he showed me a long time ago. It was a great lesson when I was young and completely obsessed with the guitar and trying to learn how this stuff works. It was a lesson that I certainly needed to receive, and all the greatest guitar players in the world do this. I bet I couldn't have been more than 15, maybe 16 years old when he showed me this. At the time, I was trying to play Borsalino, and I was doing it this way. He said, "Why would you do that? You're going from here to here." So then he showed me and said, "Do it this way." Extra credit if you've already noticed what I'm about to say. I was hammering on with the first finger and second finger, and he showed me to replace that with the index sliding in. What he was showing me was the art of economy of motion. Every single guitar player that wants to become great would be wise to learn it. I'm reminded of something Jerry Reed was quoted as saying, where he'd made the comment, and I paraphrase, "If it was that hard to play, I wouldn't have played it." Getting efficient on the guitar is all about economy of motion. Frequently, better economy of motion also makes you sound better because it leads to smoother, more connected phrases that simply are delivered better. Here are just a couple more examples. Sometimes the best economy might come from replacing a fretted note with an open string. For example, when Chet Atkins plays the tune Backwoods, he plays a beautiful solo, but it ends with a chromatic descent before going right back into the melody of the tune, and the positions on the fingerboard could cause some problems if you didn't look for an economical way of accomplishing it. At the end of his solo, he's way up here. He's playing pretty phrases up there, but the melody winds up all the way back here. How's he going to get from way up here back to where he needs to go? The answer is chromaticism, and how's his hand going to readjust? He plays this chromatic lick. But for economy of motion, if you try to do that with every single note fretted, two things are a distinct possibility. One, you might miss. Two, it's going to sound choppy. You've got more frets to travel than you have fingers on the left hand. Chet does play that fairly staccato, but you want that to be an artistic choice instead of a necessity. So the smoother way of playing that phrase is to replace the E note with the high E string. By doing that, you buy yourself one note that the left hand doesn't have to worry at all about, giving you time to readjust your left hand down to a more economical part of the fingerboard. Readjust down here. In fact, you could also replace the E note here that ends the phrase just before that. You could replace that with the high E string as well. And that's just better economy of motion than trying to get there going, which is going to be clumsy, awkward, and a big liability. The basic idea is that you want to do things in the most direct, effective, and simplest way possible. Don't work any harder than you already need to. Sometimes that's more than a physical readjustment and has to do with how you might adjust something mid-phrase in order to get from your desired point A to your desired point B. So as Jimmy said, let me prove it to you. Like Jimmy going into his outro solo on Bold as Love. He wants to land with a big bend on beat 1, but he's setting it up with a triplet phrase that ascends from the low E string up to the high E string. That triplet lead-up phrase needs to be reversed in direction, mid-phrase without blinking an eye, in order to land on beat 1 where Jimmy wanted to. As the lead-up starts, one pattern is established. In terms of the direction, there's a starting note that's accented, and then it goes down a step to a step and a half, and then back to the original note. Then he follows that up. This is transposition in the textbook sense. Then he follows it up again, transposing up yet again. So far it's the same pattern. But now he's running out of roadway if he's going to get to where he wants to get on time. So if he follows the transposition up yet again without readjusting, he's going to get... That's not the part, because if that was the part, he'd be in trouble. It's not going to work. On beat 1 he lands here. Meanwhile, he wants to be way up here. So in order to get there on time, the economy of motion is the readjustment of the phrase. He has to literally invert the direction of the phrase. Instead of, it gets readjusted to, at which point he's set up beautifully to finish out that phrase with. And that's the last note of the measure. The next one will be beat 1, the big downbeat. He gets to go into the bend exactly like he wants to, right on time, and it's a perfect phrase. Now let's say someone's being a contrarian and saying, well, you could get there if you didn't readjust. Yeah, sort of, but it wouldn't be as cool. There would be a really awkward mid-phrase skip where you'd have to jump over from the 5th fret on the 4th string to the bend on the 3rd string. Jimmy was really good at connecting his phrases. That's what to look for, what to pay attention to, and how to think about it. If the concept is right, the rest will fall into place. The way that I would practice this is to constantly watch your hands, even film your hands, and when you look at them, ask yourself, is this the simplest, most direct route to the sounds that I'm trying to produce? And if it isn't, if things feel clumsy and sound clumsy, now you have the opportunity to go looking for a more efficient, more economical way of getting what you want out of it. If you're enjoying these videos and you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so and hitting the notification bell. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful and that it helps you to ultimately play better, because that's what I want for you. So stay tuned and check out the notifications. I'll see you again tomorrow with another update.